Theaters of War, the expansion, on the 30th of June, which is next week. Everybody's in crunch time now, so Ari won't be joining us. He is currently handcuffed to his computer, making sure everything works and looks good. But with me, as always, is Guðmundur Kristjánsson, the creative director for 1939 Games.
Hey guys.
How are you doing today, man?
Yeah, like you say, super excited and hyped up for the expansion release.
Yeah. Well, we have some. We have a record number of questions. We have how many questions? Let's see. We have a total of 52 questions for us to answer now. So we have a lot ahead of us.
Excellent.
But we're not just going to be answering your questions. During this stream, we're also going to be revealing the first 5 minutes of gameplay footage from the expansion. So we let Spoos have early access and had him make a video from some of the early campaign scenarios and got his honest reaction to it. So in about 30 minutes, we're gonna be showing you that. So let's start off with question number 1. This question, we're going to start with some very specific questions about specific cards. So this question is from HY286. Empire of the Sun, further tweaks. The card is too strong.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's not one of the questions we covered beforehand.
It was not in the meeting that you were in. You came in late. I have the answer, but I know we talked about it. So we talked about like super specific questions around individual cards are really hard to answer. So if we just take all the kind of card questions, individual card questions, and get them out of the way, we recently balanced Empire of the Sun. We increased the credit cost a little bit.
Definitely did something. Whether it's enough, I'm not 100% sure.
But what we do afterwards is that we're constantly monitoring the popularity of the card, how much it's crafted, how much it plays, what's the win rates of the decks it's in, and those are the metrics that we look at and take into account primarily when we decide what cards need to be tuned down or buffed up. Because it's really hard to get wrecked by a card in a super specific situation and feel like it's overpowered. But we have to look at the kind of one step back data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The next question was about Tamanskaya as well, but it's the same answer that is there. The next one is a fun one. And I think you weren't in the meeting yet when we answered this, but you should be able to answer this. Will there be some Alpine units added to other major nations? As it is, an Alpine deck is only optimal with Germany. Will we spice things up with making Alpine more viable with other nations? For example, adding something like the 10th Mountain for US, who fought in Italy during the war.
That is very possible, yes. Yeah, we will definitely, I mean, like with other themes or, sub-themes within the game, like like Alpine, we will continue expanding on it and that it becomes a thing for different nations, if it makes sense, like in the case you mentioned. It's definitely a very viable possibility.
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you. And that was from Lucky Charms 455. Thank you for the question.
Yeah.
The next question, how often do you plan to release data on nation win rates, card win rates, and more, much like was done in the past before release? And I'm going to answer this one, because sitting behind the computer over there is our community Thomas, who committed during this meeting that he would do this quarterly. So once every quarter, we would release data about card win rates, nation win rates, and the overall state of the game. Is that something that the chat can agree with us on? We're seeing the Thomas. There's now a Thomas and Ole emote from Scout. So the chat's just that.
Is there no emote for me?
You're you should be next. Scout, I trust you that you will screenshot a nice little image of Gumi during this AMA for the next emote. All right, next question is, can I have a job, please? I'll behave. I promise. And that is from Sir Frensico Bot.
Yeah, of course. Just drop by at our office and we'll chat.
But in general, we're not advertising any openings at the moment. But
no, we're looking for some quite specific positions, like programmers and things like that. So yeah.
So if you are a world-class programmer and you're interested in working with us, at least let us know.
Yeah, definitely. We're happy to get contacted and info about anyone interested. Take a look, of course.
Perfect. All right. Next question is there a set date for the World Championships? I'll take this one. December is what we have announced. There's going to be more details soon. We haven't decided exactly when it's going to be. That's the one that I wanted. All right. Next one. Will you add HQs with special abilities?
I can take that one. Back in the days, in early prototypes of KARDS, we actually had HQs like that had different abilities and behaved in some way like heroes in other games or something like that. But we abandoned that concept mainly because we found it a bit too restrictive on deck building, and because you're always building around the HQ then. So we opted out of that, and we decided to go another way with HQs, which will be revealed very soon. And I think we will stick to that. There are no plans to have HQs with special effects.
You can
abilities.
You can say what the new HQs are gonna do.
Yeah, they are basically they do nothing, but they look extremely cool.
You'll see it. You'll see it in the video from Spruce. And that's kind of one of the big things that's coming in the expansion is the new battlefields.
Yeah.
All right. So next thing is, will you change the timer mechanic? No, we won't touch the timer mechanic anytime soon.
No, not at least in the regular format, but maybe we'll play around with it in some different game formats. Or you could maybe have a card, like if you play this card, people only have like 2 seconds to do their turns or something like that.
Oh my God! Are you trying to ruin Scout's baby combo deck where the animations take the whole turn? All right. Next one. Can we get more profile statistics to evaluate playstyle and results? This is from Piano Dude 89. I can answer a part of this. So kind of at a high level, statistics are great, but they're really great for a specific set of players. Statistics can also be really demotivating. If you have a bad start in a game and your first games continuously count, it can really demotivate you from grinding up those numbers, so to speak. So we have to be careful about how we implement statistics, but we do agree that the way we use them now and what we're showing now leaves stuff to be desired.
Absolutely, I totally agree with it. It can be, it could be potentially sometimes not that great experience, and then it's also a question of we just want to present to you the stuff that is most important and not clutter the game with all kinds of UI stuff and data and things that maybe are not relevant for everyone.
Yeah. So I think we do want to do this, but we just have to figure out a good way to do it.
Yeah.
And there's one thing that I also think we have to think about in this context is like, should we be presenting all the statistics in the client, or should some of that be handled through an API where a third-party development ecosystem can kind of build on top of that to serve more detailed statistics? And this is what we see in a lot of games where only the high-level statistics are available in the game, but as you go outside, there are third-party websites that really dive deep into the stats and even do some analysis on them, highlighting gaps in your play and that kind of stuff. And that's something that we definitely want to see around KARDS in the future. The next one is with a shortcut and not just in the collection tab. Any plans for that?
I don't think so. I think the collection is the right place for the historical stuff. I mean, you're playing a game against another player. There is a time limit, and it's very easy to lose yourself in reading up on the historical stuff and losing focus of the game. So I think in the battle scene that's not the right place for the historical background stuff.
Yeah, Okay. Thank you for your question, that good dude, and thank you for your passion for history. I hope you find it quenched at least a little bit through playing cards. Next question is, where's the auto mute option? I'll just answer this real quick. We talked about this in the last AMA a little bit. Auto mute is not something that we're likely to implement anytime soon, because we want to kind of have the human connection available and not just give people a button to opt out of that completely. But you can really easily, obviously, mute every time you go into a match. But as with everything else, Cards is a living product. We're constantly listening to your feedback and thoughts as this plane flies overhead. That's kind of thematic, right? It's like planes flying.
I think it was a German bomber.
But yeah, so we'll always look at your feedback, and if this becomes a big kind of request from a large portion of our players, then obviously we will look into it. So thank you for your question, Aizen K. Next question. When are we going to see the infamous experimental weapons of World War II, like King Tiger, Nashorn, Gustav, etc.?
All in due time. I mean, we don't have any kind of a hardline position against adding units like that. Especially, like the King Tiger. I mean, it was built in they built quite a few of those. Some things that were just on the drawing board, or some sketches on paper. Maybe we'll not add those, but if there were some copies built, and definitely if it saw action anywhere, then we might add it at some point. But you have to keep in mind that we're in for the long game. I mean, we're gonna be developing cards for the next 10 years or so. So it's very nice to have something on year 8,
Yeah.
that King Tiger might come then.
Yeah, and I think that's always something that kind of is hard to balance. When you're a part of the community, you really want everything right away, right? And we would love to give everybody everything right away, but we also have to think about we want 10, 15 years of content in this game, so it still feels fresh, competitive, and fun in that time.
Absolutely.
Next question, are we going to see some alternate history campaigns eventually, like Czechoslovakia in 1938, possibly, only playable in campaign with juicy rewards and such? This is from France and Magic.
Yeah, who knows? We don't have anything like that on the drawing board at the moment. I mean, we're obviously coming now with campaigns that are just historical ones, but we might go for something like that at some point.
So the campaigns that are coming now, they are historically inspired. They're not historically accurate.
No, of course not. I mean, it's a pretty abstract card game, so it's hard to be really accurate. But we we researched at least quite well the battles we are basing them on, or the campaigns, and then tried to kind of capture some of the things, the essence, and choose the right unit types and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely very much inspired.
But there's not going to be any zombies.
No zombies. No alternative reality. Maybe alternative history, but no fantasy.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. All right, next one. When will there be a spectator mode tournament feature? I'll answer this one. So we're looking at late August or beginning of September for when we can get in kind of the first set of tournament tooling and support. Obviously, we have a lot on our plate here. The dev team is now currently hunkering down for the expansion. Then there's going to be some summer vacations coming in, but as soon as we're kind of fully operational again and already, we're already looking at it, but then we'll dive straight into it. I think the best way I can answer you with this now is saying that, they hired me and that kind of shows the commitment level to supporting, tournaments, competitive content creation, streamers, and anything else kind of in the community. So keep an eye out. There's obviously the Officers Club tournament coming up next month as well. Players are surely grinding to get into that top 8 now for the end of the season. But then when we announce that, we're probably going to announce another tournament as well that's going to be open for everybody. So So keep an eye out. There's more tournaments coming, and later this year, some tournament support coming as well. All right, next one. Can you add a notification to the start bar with a flashing orange when it is my turn when I'm all tabbed? Can I see a show of hands in chat? Who's missed a turn when they were all tabbed? Like, I just want to see the chat skyrocket. Yeah. Hands. Yep. So what do you think?
Maybe we just put a warning when you try to tap out of the game. It just flashes on the screen like, "Don't tap out of cards ever."
Keep playing.
Oh,
Never close.
that might be better. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Goats on Ropes. We'll definitely look at it, and I think this is a theme that we can all resonate with. I think we've all we're obviously also kind of playing alongside work a lot of the time. So you kind of alt tab and go write an email, and then you come back in, and you're on turn 6, and you feel really bad for the other person.
I've had this, so many times playing against some players, and then they probably think you are, roping them really hard, and I'm like, oh.
It's just like I want to just put it out into the cosmos here. Like, sorry to everyone that I have AFK'd against. It was not intentional, I promise. All right. Next one. Will you guys in the near future add more options for us in the store? Maybe a crafting bundle for $20 to $40 or something.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not maybe exactly that specific example, but we'll be adding to the store continuously, all kinds of things.
Yeah, and this is something that we've talked about quite a bit, at least since I joined. Is we want to add more stuff into the store. We want to do more cosmetics. We want to do more kind of things that can help you customize and optimize your cards experience. And some of that is already coming with the campaigns, but we want to do more on that front for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Will we get stuff on the table? Is this from Baby Yoda, I guess? All these 3 questions. And then will we get stuff on the table we can interact with when we wait for our turn?
Yeah, like taking the safety off the looker or something like that. might be cool. Definitely, we'll be adding stuff like that down the line. We'll be adding some minor things like this in the campaign, where you can actually interact with something.
That's my favorite feature, by the way. I love it. You'll see when the campaigns come out. Then you can all go
a little mini game even.
Yes, you can all go hunting while you're playing. Okay, will it be possible to make table skins based on World War locations around the world, like for example D-Day? Yes.
Definitely will be possible.
And is coming in Theaters of War. There's going to be 5 new playable battlefields, and I think they look sick. What is your opinion on the recycling system? 25% of what you get for a gold card. Do you think this is fair, and why?
It's maybe hard to say what is fair or unfair in regards to this. I mean, we're of course a pretty small studio, so we looked at what other games do, many of the bigger games, and we kind of try to stay in the ballpark of others when it comes to this. Whether it's fair or not, it's debatable. Do you have anything to add?
I mean, I think there's so much stuff that you need to take into account when you're doing a recycling system like this. And I think a lot of that stuff is really hard to take into account when you're just playing the game. It's stuff like, if you give too many resources, and this might sound super odd, but like if you give too many resources, people will feel like the cards are less valuable, right? So you need to strike that good balance just in terms of creating like a sense of value around cards and a sense of accomplishment when you complete your collection. There are so many different ways that this system can impact the greater ecosystem. And obviously, we can't say if we have nailed it 100% correct and we will never change it and this is the only way it should ever be and everybody else should follow our example. But we're pretty happy with where it stands at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And seeing especially when you look at like the top 10 players in the game, most of these players are mostly free-to-play players or haven't spent anything on the game. That shows us as well that it's very possible to play through it and with the current resource system get a full collection or get a very competitive collection without ever having to spend any dollars, which is something that we really want our game to stand for. The next question, how will you handle the overload of cards in the future? Will the sets rotate like they do in some pre-existing card games?
I mean, we are all card gamers, so we are very aware of the challenges that await us when we have like thousands of different cards and expansions rolling out regularly. But we have kind of not made any definite decisions on this issue or topic. I mean, we know it's there, but it's a bit far away still for us to be worrying about it.
Yeah.
So we've kind of deferred the issue a bit, but we will definitely. We have some ideas.
Yeah. All right, next one, and this is perfect for you. When designing cards, how do you decide the artwork? Does the artwork inspire a certain design, or do you search for artwork that corresponds to a certain design?
So then that's definitely a mixture of both of these things. I mean, often we stumble upon some awesome artwork that we kind of I get an itch to get it immediately out there, and we create some cards around it. Then Kelly, our main game designer, is also doing some cycles of cards, or doing some like now with the campaigns, and then he just requests, can we have this in this unit, and then we go hunting for the art, or we have it custom made for us, depending on what it is. So it's definitely both of those, yeah.
Awesome. Are there any plans for silence cards, i.e. the ability to remove any text from an enemy unit, perks, and such?
Yeah, we definitely thought about it, and we kind of introduced it more like on like different abilities on cards that they can suppress abilities on other cards, specific things, not exactly like silence. But yeah, we don't have any plans to add it as a keyword ability, but definitely the kind of general functionality, we want to have that in there on some cards.
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Do you plan to include some units immune to deployment effects?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's definitely something we will consider.
And then, directly related to the resources discussion earlier, Blue Blast asks here, are there any plans to be able to craft gold cards?
Yeah, I think that's also a good idea. I mean, why not? When you think about it. So it's definitely something we can consider.
This fits with the old Icelandic saying, þeir sletta skýrinu sem eiga það.
Yeah.
How
can you translate that?
I'll leave the community to translate this. Þeir sletta skýrinu sem eiga það. Next one. Will there possibly be more smokescreen or high defense units that will increase the cost of orders in enemy hands? Maybe.
What, like Blackwatch or something like that? That's a bit specific. I mean, it's yes, down the line, probably. Mm-hmm. But we haven't really been thinking about adding those specific cards, but probably.
Okay. Next question, bug or feature? Often I can see a credit change when the opponent activates a countermeasure.
Definitely a bug. You shouldn't be able to see that. It's a very deliberate design decision to not let people see that.
Yeah.
I think it's much more interesting if it's an actual secret, but not a secret that you can see that is there, then it's not a secret. It's just some.
It's just one of 3 things or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. I remember that in the beta version, at least, if you were, for example, general, you would only play against other people who are in the same rank. Is it still like that? I can answer this one. We match people based on their hidden MMR. That's something that is in the background, and it takes into account all your games in all nations, so it's not based on the star rank at the moment. And that is a system that we're constantly looking at and constantly tweaking to make it better over time as the player base grows as well. Our opportunities to make it more balanced and make it more accurate increase as well.
Another thing I might add to that, that we want to add again into the game, is that you can see your rank in the nation that you're playing while you're in battle. You could just, back in the days, you could see the rank of the other player and yourself, and you were ranked kind of based on that. But you could just see your own rank.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be adding that soon.
Yeah, I think that could be fun. I think it could definitely help me know if I really need to win this game or not. Does what cards you receive from packs depend on what cards you already own?
No, the packs are completely random. So besides from the, of course, promising that you get one more rare card.
Next question is from Sir Francisco Bot, who's sent us quite a few questions. Why can't I win games? I say there's some videos that can help with that, and some awesome streamers out there as well.
Check out the Spoos and Only playing.
Yeah, the Coach at Dev series with Spoos, with Blue, with Darkness were all great. Again, these guys are all streamers in their own right, so you can catch their streams and learn a lot from them. So if you want to improve, definitely check out the creator ecosystem around cards. There's some awesome people in there. Next one. How long are the new players protected by a specific matchmaking? Is it based on played time or on victories?
I'm not sure if I go into the exact details of how it works, but you are protected somewhat for a relatively short period early on. After that, you are matched based on the score you were mentioning earlier. But I mean, during your first games, you are not matched against experienced players.
Okay. Next question. This is quite a hot topic as well. Few people asked about this. Other currencies than the US dollar. Currently, the exchange rate isn't really favorable for those that have to pay in different currencies. I can answer this. I talked to Ingo about this in the meeting yesterday. This is something that we are working on. We don't have a firm timeline on when this comes in, but it is something we are aware of, that it is a pain point, and we are working to solve it. We hope that you will stick with us long enough to actually see it come through. But we are definitely working on it and want to have it available as soon as possible. Next one. Do you plan to create an invite a friend program, giving a bonus to the new player and the one who sponsored him?
Yes. This has been on the drawing board for quite a long time. I don't have an exact time frame for when we'll add it, but it's obviously something we are very interested in getting in there. Because so many of us came from CCP, makers of EVE Online. I mean, the buddy program there that worked exactly like that, but it wonders for EVE Online. So we're hoping it will do the same for KARDS, whatever the exact implementation will be.
Yeah, and if you are wondering if you should wait for this system before introducing a buddy to KARDS, don't. Get in while the getting is good. I think that's what the saying is, or something.
It will benefit both already in terms of fun had.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to have it, but if you have some friends that want to get into the game or you think might be interested, by all means, share the game with them. Next question. Will Amazon tablets with Amazon App Store be supported also by the mobile version?
Not to begin with. We are talking about Android and iOS to begin with. But hopefully, you know, in time we can gradually expand that further.
Yep, perfect. Next question. Can you put mobile version to a higher priority so that we get it sooner?
We're already working on it pretty hard.
I would say it's probably as high a priority as it can be for us at the moment.
Yes. But we don't want to rush it out. We want to do it, you know, really try to do it exactly right. I mean, it's a complicated procedure. It's not just a matter of having it in a playable version on the phone. Both we need to think about the UX needs to be really, you know, top quality. Needs to capture kind of, you need to feel kind of the same when you're playing, like you're playing on the desktop. Or try to translate the experience as much as well as possible. Then, you know, also, you know, publishing a game for mobile is not just putting it in the store.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it, and we really want to, because we think it's will be one of the biggest milestones in the history of cards when we go on mobile. So we really want to take care and do it properly. And that means we will have to have some patience.
Yes, and for those that are looking to get there sooner, I've shared this a couple of times, but I personally use a free app that's called Parsec that you can download, you can have on your phone, and you can access your desktop or laptop computer from anywhere, and that works pretty well with cards, seeing as it is a kind of turn-based game, and it doesn't really. We also used that for the Officers Club Top 8 tournament. We had the players all over the world kind of remote connecting to computers here in Iceland to play the matches. So theoretically, you could have played the Top 8 tournament on mobile if you wanted to.
That's awesome.
So, you know, there are some ways to go around it, but we definitely agree. Mobile is a huge priority for us. It is one of our biggest opportunities. It is one of our biggest milestones to reach, and we want to do it right instead of fast.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, next question, and then we'll take a little break. We'll go and watch the first 5 minutes of gameplay from the campaign mode from Spoos. That video is then going to be available on YouTube pretty much right after this AMA, so you guys can go there, find it, share it with your friends and everyone else that you know plays the game but isn't watching the stream. And when we'll go over all the cards that we've revealed so far in the expansion, and we'll finish off the questions. We're on question 36. Okay. Can you guys add a 2v2 mode?
So we are working on some features that kind of get people to work together and play together, but a 2 versus 2 kind of actual battle, that is not on the drawing board for the near future.
Okay, there you have it. All right, Thomas, when you are ready, you can queue up and play the first look from Spoos. A little disclaimer here, when Spoos came in and went and recorded this footage, it was very much in early access, so there are definitely some textures, buttons, and other stuff that has changed since then, but this should give you a good overview of kind of the core gameplay experience of the campaigns. We've made it way cooler since then, so we can't wait for you to see it, but roll the clip.
Hey guys, thanks to 1939, today we are able to take a first look at the new expansion that is coming out on 30th of June. With this expansion there will be a new single player mode that brings 5 campaigns. I think I like to start with El Alamein. Okay, what do we have here? So it looks like you can play the campaign several times and try to achieve more and more stars, I guess. And you can choose between different strategies. I think we're just going to start with Gazella, just with the first one. Okay, and now we can select a strategy. Rommel sounds always good. Objective is to destroy the enemy HQ. Special, you get +3 credits on turn 1. Okay, so we have a quick start here. Then we get stars for destroy the enemy HQ in 10 turns or less. Capture the front line on turn 4 or sooner. Win the battle losing 5 units or less. Okay, let's see. Ooh. That was a nice animation. Okay, so yeah, on first turn we have +3 credits. That was on the description of the scenario. So we can drop some units here. The 2-6, seriously? Triple damage against tanks, so I guess we want to have this to kill that. How do we ever kill this here? Yeah, that's it. I'm dead. I have to stick with Rommel now. Okay, that looks really nice. You know what? Maybe attacking the Fury guy there wasn't the best idea. I should have attacked this one, so it's no longer mobilized. How should it ever be possible to win this before turn 10? Oh, I'm dead again. What is this? Let's try a new strategy. Supply escorts? Let's try the supply escorts. That looks definitely different. And way better. Let's keep the Panzer 4 here. Okay, this strategy looks way better so far. You even have some big boys and not those small 1-2 infantries. We finally won. Third try. So if you're watching this, don't try. And we even got 3 stars, wow. Alright guys, that was the first scenario of the German campaign, El Alamein. It was way harder than I thought it would be, and I'm definitely excited to see the other scenarios, also from the other campaigns. I hope you liked it, and you should definitely...
Yeah, that was the first look of the campaign gameplay coming in Theaters of War. As we talked about, this was a very early version of the build, so this has taken leaps and bounds in terms of improvements in the look and feel of everything. So I was really happy to see that Spoo struggled with this, and it got like 30 minutes of play through the first scenario in the campaign. So that tells me there's quite a bit of content to go through in this campaign.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it's the challenging part about this kind of content is making it challenging enough, but not too difficult. Trying to strike the balance of making it fun, but still challenging. And it was nice to see that he struggled a little bit with it.
Yeah, that's true. We should definitely. Oh my god, we transitioned too soon, Thomas. We transitioned too soon. He said you should definitely check out the Theaters of War expansion coming up. But you can see what Spoo said. Ooh, this was like a great cliffhanger. You can see what Spoo says at the end of the video on YouTube in about 20 minutes. Get the YouTube views as well, All right. Let's now go over the cards that have been revealed so far. I'll be able to see them. You won't. So I'm sorry, Gumi. I'm just going to talk about them real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Let's bring up the first kind of the five. Hello? Hello? Are we back to us? Yes, there we go. There we go. Hello. Okay. So, apparently I can't speak. So you can't hear me when the card screens are up.
Okay.
That's a problem. That's my bet. So we'll just show the card, and then we'll go back, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So those were the 5 elites, and now Thomas is going to show us the 5 cards that are currently in the draft for about 10 seconds, and then I'll go through them real quick. These are the 5 cards that are currently active in the draft mode. So if you play draft now, you can play with these new cards. They are one for each nation. It is the East Surrey Regiment for Britain, a 2-6 Guard Infantry. It's the 1005th Rifles for Soviet, a 5-3 Infantry with Ambush, and the text, while the opponent targets the 1005th Rifles with an order, draw a card. The 164th Infantry Regiment, which is a 1-1, 1-cost infantry that on destruction gives a random friendly unit plus 1-1. The 361st Africa Regiment, which is a 3-3, 3-cost infantry unit. When it moves into the front line, it deals 3 damage to the HQ. I moved 4 of these up into the front line yesterday. It was a lot of fun.
No, I imagine that was fun.
And then the last one is the 1st Taipei Regiment in Japan. Has Blitz and Fury, and costs 5 credits to deploy and 0 operating costs. Then we have had some content creators and streamers spoil some cards over the last few days. Blue Blast has spoiled one, Spoos has spoiled one, Scout has spoiled one, and Darkness has spoiled one, I think. There are more coming in the coming days, so make sure to tune into the streams and YouTube videos of the cards community. But let's bring up the first card for that now, Thomas. Back. And we're back. Nice. That was high altitude bombing. It is a US elite card, and it destroys 2 random enemy units. It's a double death from above.
Yeah.
And then that is Exploit the Gap. That is a German order, which gives you the top 3 elite units. No, top 3 units of your deck. Sets the cost to 0 and gives it Blitz. So that's like a 0-cost Leopold with Blitz.
Yeah. Could be an interesting card, definitely. There's a lot of interesting cards.
Yeah. Let's get the next one. And that was Rule Britannia. That is an 8-credit British order, and a lot of people are really scared about this card. It says give all your units plus 2 HP, and then their attack becomes the same as their HP.
Yes, I mean, we've already pre-nerfed it. It was even worse. But Kiel is, convinces me that this is not really that good. Let's see.
Okay. So Kiele promises that it's not going to be that good. And then
trash card.
It's a trash card. Okay. And then we have the last card that has been revealed so far. And that is Feigned Retreat. It is a Japanese elite order. It says discard your hand. When you deploy a unit this battle, draw a card. This is something very new. And this opens up some pretty new possibilities with some Japanese decks, right?
Definitely. It's a kind of a card that you can imagine building something around.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so those are the cards that have been revealed so far. And we hope you guys are really excited about these cards. I know we are. There's plenty more cards to come, but there are a total of 40 unique playable cards that are coming. So 40 new card types. If you were to count the individual copies of each card, it is 105 new cards that are coming in the campaigns. The only way to get them is through playing through the campaigns and unlocking them there. So there's quite a bit of stuff in these campaigns.
Yeah, we think it's a nice fat package that we are getting out there.
Yeah.
We'll definitely shake up the meta game a lot and make cards great again.
All right, so next question, if we go back to the questions, we're going to blaze through the rest of these questions. Will you add a World War mode with players playing against each other, capturing multiple different HQs in a prolonged campaign covering the entire war?
That is definitely something we might consider for the future. It's a bit out of our scope at the moment, but I've always had this idea from very early on that it would be nice to make some kind of a real campaign, even, Axis versus allies over some period of time where people could contribute in some meaningful way.
Yeah.
So that's a very exciting concept.
Okay, next one. Has there been any discussion or plans to offer matchmaking or games with base decks for online play? I'm in the Officers Club now and running into new decks and cards combinations a lot, but it would be fun today to play some chess kind of with my friends who may not be at the card strength I am. And I mean, I can answer this because this kind of also ties into the competitive side of things. I mean, definitely we have talked about different ways to kind of create more even matches with similar deck strengths. And there are ways to do this. If you want to play chess with your friends right now, you can just add them and challenge them and make a verbal agreement that you'll only bring, one elite and 2 or 3 special cards. We also know of tournaments like the K-League and other tournaments that are enforcing these types of rules on the decks. So there's maybe one deck where everything goes and one deck that's very limited in card strength. So I'd say, for now, just make verbal agreements and make sure they're followed and play it that way through the challenge system. But in the future, we definitely want to find a way to kind of provide that as a gameplay option. Next question, when will we see Italy as a major nation?
This touches on a topic that we've been asked about and discussed a little bit before. The answer is probably not ever, because we will probably not be adding more major powers to the game, major nations. It's both a question of, the traditionally kind of classified or the how do you say it, the major powers of World War II, as they are often portrayed. But it's also about just some practical things of, getting artwork, and they didn't have all these different nations didn't have all the numbers of different aircraft and tanks and all these things that these 5 major powers had. So it's also a matter about that.
Okay. Next question, will there be other nations like Poland, Finland, or China, even as support nations like Italy?
Yes, definitely. We'll keep on expanding like that.
Yeah, and just to give like additional context here, we do want to represent as many actors, as we feasibly can, in a way that makes sense. So, if there was a nation that significantly took part in the war effort in some way, then we do want to add them at some point. All right, the same thing. Will we see some Norwegian cards or other smaller countries? It's exactly the same thing there. And my computer just died
Ah.
out of battery. So we just swapped to the phone.
Well, with the Norwegians, I mean, maybe they might be, and smaller players in World War II. I mean, we could introduce some completely new systems so that you could even have, Greenland or whatever nation,
Yeah.
maybe just one card here and there. It was not called World War II for nothing. It was
It's
happening all over.
It happened all over the world.
Everyone was affected, and most nations took part in some way or other.
That's absolutely true. Thomas, could I ask you for a favor? Could you get my phone charger that's under my desk? See, the computer was at 100% battery, but we've gone on for so long, Kumi, that it just ran out of batteries.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Will there be a proper deck burn mechanic to supplement resistance or a change in the damage dealt to decked out players?
We have not. We don't have any plans to change that mechanic. I mean, if we need to deal with resistance, for example, then like in this example named there, I mean, then we'll just figure out some other way of balancing that. Other than changing this mechanic, I think.
Yeah, and there are two more questions here about resistance as well, and I kind of want to. One of the questions here asks, is resistance unbalanced or controversial discussed in the dev studio? And I think this is where we can kind of really give a lot of context, and that's the fact that we do have a ton of discussions about the state of the game and everything in it every day at the office. Every single person on the team is not just, as a team, but individually motivated to come to the office and do the best possible thing for the community every single day. At least when I speak for myself when I say, this isn't just a job. This is like a passion for all of us to make this happen. And I know Gummi wouldn't have worked, like a crazy man for 5 years without, even going into early access, making the game if it wasn't born out of passion. So when it comes to mechanics like resistance or anything else, in the future there will be more ways to deal with it as new mechanics and more mechanics make their way into the game and they take resistance into account when they're being designed. We also look at, like we talked about earlier, stuff like win rate and pick rate, how much is it played, how popular are the cards, and everything else that goes into the decision of whether or not it should be nerfed. So we continue to hear your feedback about resistance.
Yes.
We continue to talk about it internally, but it's really hard to kind of we really want to avoid jumping up and making knee-jerk reactions to like community feedback. That would just create a very unstable game environment where if somebody posts a complaint on Reddit and we just jump in and just go, wow, nerf it, change the cost, you guys would never know what was happening, and you would probably be kind of not in agreement about what should happen or not.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next one. What is the problem about integrated graphics cards? This was the one that Ari was going to answer, but he can't be with us today. It asks, are they the main reason for freezing matches? And the question is, we just don't exactly know, otherwise we would have fixed it. Can you add cards to Google Stadia and GeForce Now? I can take this one as well. When we talk about cloud gaming and all these different cloud gaming solutions or remote gaming solutions that are coming out, we are extremely interested in them. We believe that card games are one of the best games, just the turn-based nature of the gameplay and the way they're built from the ground up really lends itself for these types of services where you can sacrifice a few milliseconds where you can't in some other games. So services like Google Stadia, GeForce Now, working with guys like Parsec and anyone else bring the game to as many people as possible and lower the barrier of entry in terms of equipment, whether that be I need a phone or I need a computer. It's something we will always strive for. Is that good? You want me to add something?
Oh, that's perfect.
Nice. All right. When do you expect the reconnect feature and watch game feature to be ready? Like we said for the spectator, we're looking late August or early September for that. But what about reconnects?
It's been something on the drawing board for a long time, and we've kind of postponed it a few times. It should actually be there already. It is a little bit more complicated than we initially thought to do this properly. So it is the most useful. But I would like to promise that we will have it out before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year.
That I would really wanna see it before the end of the year.
No, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one.
You did that on purpose.
I did. It's the old like soon trademarked kind of joke. No, but in all honesty, this is something that we are acutely aware of and are definitely working towards. As you can hear, we are working towards a lot of things, and there's a lot to do for a 12-person team.
Yeah.
All right, the next one. How much will the Theaters of War expansion cost when it is officially released in dollars and gold? And here I think we're going to be revealing the cost in gold for the first time.
Yeah. Will you do the honors?
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, the campaign will be sold as a bundle for the same price as the pre-orders in the future as well, $29.95. However, people can also buy individual campaigns for $7.95. That means that you have significant savings if you buy them as a bundle. In terms of the in-game currency, we are looking at a cost per campaign of 100 gold. And now a lot of people have been speculating about the cost of the campaigns. They've been running the numbers, comparing it to how many draft tickets is it and how many packs and everything else. And when we were calculating the price point in terms of gold, we had to look at everything that's in each campaign. So for every campaign that you're getting, you're not just getting the cards involved, you're not just getting the play, but you're also getting a new battlefield, a new headquarter, a new card back, 5 playable scenarios with 3 different strategies per scenario, so around 15 scenarios that you can play through with replayability. And you're getting did I say the new battlefield yet?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. Yes, and the new headquarters. And
the ants.
Okay, you can crush ants in the new expansion. It's leaked. So there is quite a bit behind that 100 gold, and we do feel confident that players will feel like it's worth it at the end of it.
Yeah, we definitely hope so. I mean, like you say, it's not only about what you get when you have finished it, but it's also, the whole experience. And we hope they are really fun to play, and
yes,
there is high replay value, like you say.
And it's 21 cards that you get in each campaign.
Yeah.
So it's 21 cards. It's 2 elite cards. I think it's 3 limited cards. I think it's 2 special cards for each one. So you're actually getting quite a bit of cards. You're not just getting one of each, you're getting the full set of each.
Yeah.
So next question, and we only got 4 questions left.
All right.
Will the new cards from the Theaters of War be available with crafting without buying or completing the campaigns?
That's a no. You have to play the campaigns to acquire these cards.
Yes. So they will only be available through the campaign. But as we discussed this question yesterday, the core philosophy here at 1939 Games is that no content that is playable, that means, new cards or anything, that is not cosmetics, will always be available through earning it through play and not having to pay for it. The grind might be hard sometimes, it might take some time, but we will never put anything that is playable behind a paywall. completely.
Yeah.
Next question. Which new mechanics will get introduced in Theaters of War? Allegiance at Mobilize, Resistance at Alpine. Is there anything else?
We're not adding, keyword abilities like that. Of course, various different cards have their unique abilities that some which we haven't seen before. But no keyword abilities like that.
Yeah, the main focus is the single-player game mode.
Yeah, single player game mode, and of course all kinds of interesting things, as I say, within the cards themselves, but not keywords.
Okay. Then we have... Do you plan on improving the animations of orders and other cards in the future?
Yes, definitely. We will continue to do that gradually, like we've been doing it, and we haven't really done anything about it very recently. But definitely, we will just keep doing that step by step. Both, like visuals for different orders, and also keep improving the combat visuals of the different units. Things like when your unit blows up, maybe the card burns up really quickly, or things like that.
Yeah.
Also, so we have a lot of ideas and all kinds of things planned out for that.
Yeah, and I think you remember the shock that I had when I first saw like all the new battlefields and all that kind of stuff, and how I felt that like elevated the game to a new kind of level. I think that's always going to be our aim as well, to bring it up a level, to make it current.
Absolutely.
Feel good.
Bring it up a level, and then suddenly you notice that some other part is like, this is then not good enough anymore. So then we bring that up as well, and it's like building with bricks.
Building with bricks. All right. Now we're in the last questions. Number 1, is there any plan to change the format of the World Championship now that you've begun to develop more competitive esports scene? Specifically wondering about double elimination and increasing the number of people who go to the finals in person. So about that question, we probably won't make drastic changes to the format of the World Championship this year. However, in 2021, I expect us to have more tournament tooling in place and way more options on how we can do stuff like qualification tournaments into the World Championship and what type of tournament formats we can facilitate at scale. The whole focus with us right now is that doing anything with a lot of players becomes really prohibitive for us just because of the number of people that are on the team. So that's why, the Officers Club Championship, for instance, is only top 8. I would love for that to be top 32 or even top 64 because all those players have earned it. It's no joke being in even the top 100 on the ladder. But when the situation is that the tournament is being, admin, produced, cast, and hosted by, just me, alone in the office on the Independence Day, then we are kind of limited in the scope and size of the tournaments. But as I mentioned a little bit earlier, there are going to be more tournament announcements coming soon, and I expect that with increased capability to support different tournament formats, we will ramp up and change the World Championship format a little bit. Also, as the game grows, we'll probably look to expand the number of players coming to Iceland competing, or maybe we might go and visit another country and do the finals there. Who knows? Question number 2 there was, have you got any official tourneys planned on top of the monthly Officers Club ones? Yes, we've one in the works right now. Stay tuned. 3, how much gold are the single player campaigns going to cost? We just answered that, 100. Any plans on making draft more competitive with leaderboards or at least a personal stats page?
That's a really good question. We are planning. I think we mentioned that last time. Also, we're thinking about lengthening the draft mode, so that you would have to complete 9 wins. So I think that already will make it quite more competitive. But I'm really interested in making draft more relevant than it is today. It's kind of like this
I'm sorry.
like neglected, twin brother.
Yeah. I mean, I've recently fallen in love with draft after I learned how to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome fun, but it can be, the framework around it can be nurtured a bit.
Yes, we should definitely look at it. Where it fits on the priority list, that's a good question. But yeah, I think there are definitely some kind of low-hanging fruits that we can do to improve the draft experience significantly, and I definitely think stats or some sort of personal or global leaderboards would make sense in that context. All right, the last question is, when can we buy the Thomas merch? I feel like if we had Thomas merch, we would just double the revenue of the company.
Yeah.
Can I get who in the chat would buy some Thomas merch? Probably everybody.
Yeah, maybe we can have a card, Thomas card also in the game.
Oh, that would be Eisenfaust.
German infantry.
Yeah. Oh, I think Thomas, you've made your way into the game now.
Generals.
I think that would actually be one of the greatest Easter eggs that we could make is if Thomas's face was just on one of the German infantry cards. I think so. All right. Well, Thomas, are you looking at chat? Are you seeing the chat? All right. But in general, we are looking at some kind of merchandising ideas but we don't really think that there's going to be a full-on merch store anytime soon, because that is just a really big operation to go into. But keep telling us what type of merch you'd like to see, and if you come up with cool designs for t-shirts or something that you'd love to share with us, we'd love to see them. Yeah, so just stay in touch when it comes to the merch stuff. All right, I think that's gonna do it for us.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to apologize. I forgot to bring beer, which I
Yes.
promised last time. So next time I will have to bring 2 beers, I guess. So
You'll have to bring 2 beers.
Yeah.
That's true.
bad.
But yeah, so as always, thank you to everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it so much. We decided after the first one that we were going to make these monthly. We added another camera and a really nice light, so we look even better this time around, and you can see close-ups. So we will continue to do this with the next one being in July. We really appreciate you guys submitting your questions. They are extremely useful for us and give us a great insight into what you guys are thinking and wondering about in the community, because at the end, this game would be nothing without you. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.